Good morning, this is David Schultz. I'm standing on the grounds of the Glenmoor Country Club, home of the 9th annual Glenmoor gathering of significant automobiles. 195 selected automobiles that are with us this year, ranging from early brass cars to muscle cars of the late 1970s.
Here's a 1926 Chandler. This is the 1907 Jewel that we saw from the Massillon Museum. Here's the 1898 Fredonia.
Think I'll put the Browns game on?
Look at this 1953 Packard ambulance. Altman Hospital is here in Canton. Here's a 29 Model A pickup. Here's a bright red 71 Corvette. Here's a 64 Corvette Stingray. Here's a 67 Olds Delta 88. Here's a 66 Pontiac Bonneville with that Coke bottle styling. Do you notice the similarity between the 67 Olds Delta 88 and the Riviera? Here's a 69 Olds Cutlass.
Well, I'm Ron Bowles from Lyndhurst, Ohio. This is my TR4. It's 1963, manufactured in '63 and shipped to the United States. It's pretty much been a West Coast car since. I got it about 6 years ago. It was pretty much a basket case. Been sitting outside with no top for about 10 years. Got it finished about 3 years ago. Got about 11,000 miles on it, and won a lot of ribbons with it, plaques. And had it painted, but I did all the dirty work. Took it apart, put it back together again, and it's been a good car. Well, that's a 4-cylinder engine, which was in the original TR4s. That one's got a little extra horsepower in it because I did that. And they ran that engine up until 1968, and then they switched to a 6-cylinder.
I'm Norm Petty. I've owned the vehicle for 6 years. It's a 1942, which is early production. And it's in original condition, not restored. It's as it came back from the war. A friend of mine who got out of the Army in 1946 couldn't buy a tractor. He bought this at a depot in Alabama to plow with. He plowed with it 2 years, bought a tractor and put everything back on it. And from that time on, it's been on display. And it's everything on it works and works well.
Here's a nice Chrysler Town & Country Woody. This is a 54 Dodge Pace car. It's a 47 Chrysler Town & Country. Next to a 46 Mercury Sportsman. I think we've seen this one before. Look at the hood ornament on this Mercury.
This is the original Max Wedge.
This is a 67 Jaguar E-Type. Here's the end of that Jaguar E-Type 67. 67 Ghia. Here's the rear of that 67 Ghia. Here's a 65 Jaguar XKE with the cool way that hood opens. Here's a 67 Mercedes Benz.
My name is Richard Neff, and this is a 1952 Sciata 1400 Grand Sport. They made originally, Sciata was mostly known as a speed parts manufacturer for Fiat. They built a number of their own cars between 1930, 40s into the 50s, and some cars well up into the early 70s. Their last car was called the Spring. There was about 125 of these made, from what they say. They say there's about 25 of them that remain worldwide. It's aluminum hood, steel body, and the car was designed by Stabilimente Farina, who was Panine Farina's older brother. And that was at the house of, the original house, the coachwork house of Farina. And Panine, of course, went on to great fame with Ferrari. Stabilimente went out of business the following year, in 1953. Many of these cars, because parts availability were so scarce, were modified with American V8s. Obviously, more power, same way Cobra did, Shelby did, or Sidney Allard did. Very easy to drive, it's very manageable. And I wanted something I could drive daily and get parts for. So it works out pretty good.
Hi, I'm Dick Gessner, and this is my wife Sue, and we're the owners of this Autobug. It's a 1909 Autobug, and it was made in Norwalk, Ohio. It's been in either our family or her uncle's family ever since the 1920s. I upholstered the seats myself. These are tufted with cattle hair, and I was lucky enough to find the leather company that made the original leather for this, and they made me a couple of hides, and I tufted these seats with it.
Hello, my name is Ed Soltis, and I am the caretaker of this 1927 six-cylinder Stearns Knight Roadster. And Patterson and Ann Barnes are the owners, and Ann Barnes is the granddaughter of Frank Balloon Stearns, which sold the company in 1918.
Look at this 55 Mercedes with the gull wings. Be cool. Here's a beautiful 1953 Buick Skylark. Austin A90 Atlantic. And that third little headlight. Pretty cute. 1956 Austin Healey in two-tone, red and black. Here's a 31 Alfa Romeo. That's a cute little car. And a 37 MG. 54 Mercedes Benz. Here's a 61 Jaguar Mark IV.
Hi, my name is Mike Bonner. I'm from Lambertville, Michigan. This is a 1950 Mercedes-Benz 170 Cabriolet B. It was actually built on a 37 dies, and the history behind this is that Mercedes closed during the war. They stopped building cars, and after the war, when they started back production, this was the only dies that remained intact. It's a very rare car. They built 810 over 3 years, and there's less than 70 today in the world.
All right, I'm Tom Clark, and this is my wife, Early Clark, and we're from Cleveland, Ohio, Beaufort, South Carolina, and Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we drive the car. We've had it for 10 years, done everything, put hydraulic brakes on it, changed to 37 steering. It's quite a drivable piece, and hasn't overheated today, so we're in good shape. It's a 36 Ford, and the model designation is 68-75 Alpha, which makes it a Phaeton. And we love to drive it.
And he drives it all over, even at the grocery store.
No, I'm not supposed to say that. It's for display only and shows.
My name is Ray Moore. This is a 1950 Ford Convertible. I bought it in 1972, and I collected parts for many years prior to 72. And I just started the restoration on it about 5 years ago, and the restoration was finished really in the spring of this year. And I showed it once in Columbus, and this is just the second showing for the car. The man that did the interior died in 1988, and the interior has been done that many years. And Darrell Job was his name. The engine has been totally rebuilt, and the car itself has original miles is less than 100,000. It's a California car at about 90,000.
We have some true classics in this area. It's a nice looking Ford Model A. Some other ones from the 20s. In front of this 31 Ford Model A, got a beautiful display with all the tools. Tire pump, some wrenches. Wow, look at this Graham. It's a 41 Graham Hollywood sedan. This red car is a white. It's a nice Ford New York to Seattle. And this Ford 1909 Ford Speedster. 1904 St. Louis Standard Runabout. From the Timken Company, it says. Yeah, look at this Chrysler 300. First year for the 300s. Next to that 57 Studebaker Golden Hawk, here's a 61 Studebaker Hawk next to a 58 Packard with that big fish mouth. I love that.
Hi, my name's Jim Albertoni. We're from Suffield, Ohio. You're looking at a 1958 Chevrolet Impala. It's a 348 4-speed car. We purchased this car in about 1992. It was partially restored, finished restoring the car to what you see today. The car is Rio red. The car is basically the original car except for restoration on the car.
My name's Jan Kramer. I'm from Uniontown, Ohio, and my car is a 1966 Plymouth Belvedere 2. It's a 426 Hemi, approximately 215 of Belvedere 2 automatics with a Hemi were made that year. I've had it about 12 years, and it's been completed for about 4 or 5.
And here we have a GTO next to a Galaxy. Here's a mean-looking 1962 Pontiac Catalina. This is the second year after they brought back the split grille theme. They had the split grille in 1959. They did not have it in 1960. Then 61 and 62 and throughout they kept the split grille theme for Pontiac. It's a 69 Mercury next to a 70 Buick and a 73 Plymouth.
Okay, my name is Mark Ulinski, and this is my 1965 lightweight Dodge A990. The car was raced extensively for the first 2 years of its life, and I acquired it about 7 years ago and did a frame-up restoration on it. They made about 100 of these cars, and they were designed strictly for racing. They had a lightweight front end, lightweight doors, plexiglass windows, and a very Spartan interior. It was basically a set of keys and a great big motor. The car has, again, extensive race history. I found it in somewhat decrepit condition, but we've brought it back as close as we could to original with a few exceptions for safety reasons. It now has a full cage in it that it did not have originally, and it has a little better rear brakes because there are no front brakes. And again, it's just all designed for safety. The engine itself is the original type, has the aluminum heads, the Hilburn injection system, and a 727 torque flight automatic transmission. Dana rear axle, and that's about it. You'll notice even the bumpers were lightweight. They're basically very tinny, all designed to save weight. So every trick in the book they used on these cars. The original owner driver, Charlie Allen, is now the owner of Firebird Raceway in Chandler, Arizona, and he's well aware of this car being restored and is very pleased. Also, his second car, a Dodge Dart that he ran right after this car, has also been restored and is on the nostalgia circuit now. So Charlie's cars live on.
I'm Ed Sowers from Fort Wayne, Indiana, standing with our 1955 Hudson Italia. The Italia was built as a design concept car by Hudson to go to dealers to try to bring people into the showrooms in 1954 and 55. This car is the number 22 car out of 26 total cars built. It's built on the Hudson Jet platform. The cars were, Hudson chassis were sent to Italy, and they were bodied by the Touring Body Company in Milan, Italy. The body's all aluminum. All 26 cars were identical in that they were Italian cream paint with cream and red leather interior. We bought this car about 8 years ago, and we've been restoring it over the last 2.5 and just finished it in May of this year.